On the night of August 7th, 1987, Gary Hyder of Houston, Texas, had a dream he would never forget.
I fell asleep on the couch. I saw an accident.
This was no mere dream. The accident would one day actually occur, and miraculously, it would lead Gary Hyder to be reunited with the love of his life.
I'm Joanne, I'm Don's daughter.
I know, I'm Gary.
In 1980, Gary first met a young woman named Joanne Nelson at a party at her father's home.
I had a really good time.
Soon the couple became inseparable, but Gary's lack of direction for his life eventually caused Joanne to end their relationship.
I don't think it's a good idea anymore.
What?
You and me.
We were very much in love, and what made us break up was just the fact that I wanted to go to college. And at the time, Gary didn't have any plans for his future.
She broke my heart, and I went over to the house in the afternoons to even try to talk to her, and she blew me off.
In spite of Joanne's reservations, Gary went on to become a successful businessman. But as the years passed, he never forgot Joanne.
I really never saw her much, but I always knew where she was, what she was doing. I saw other girls at that time, off and on. I just really was really never interested in anybody else.
Joanne went on to marry another man and have a child, but then she divorced. Seeking a new life, Joanne joined the Air Force. Shortly after basic training ended, Joanne and some friends headed to the Rocky Mountains for a camping trip. The night before, Gary had had his dream.
I went into not a deep sleep, and I had this vision. I saw this car, there was people in it, and it just busted into flames.
Gary did not have a clear vision of who was involved in the accident. Nevertheless, he felt moved to say a prayer for their safety.
And I said, okay, Lord, please save the people that's in this accident. So I prayed, and so therefore I didn't think anything of it, because I might have known them and I might not have.
The very next day, Gary's dream proved to be a horrifying reality. One of the people in the car was Joanne.
I was tired, I had kind of dozed off, and I awoke to the accident beginning. And I realized that we weren't going to stop. And then we started spinning and rolling. I'm not sure if it was in my mind or out loud. I just called out to God to please save me. We did land upright, but your first thought is to get out of the car. I did try to get out of the car, but the door was jammed, and so I couldn't get out of the car. I had also broken my right wrist, which would have been the hand I was using to get out of the car, so I really wasn't in any shape to move anywhere.
As the car tumbled, Joanne's neck was broken. At the hospital, doctors discovered that 2 vertebrae were fractured, an injury which usually results in paralysis or death. Gary learned of the accident from Joanne's father.
I go to her dad's station on Monday to gas up, and I say, hey, how's Joanne doing? He said, well, she was in an accident over the weekend. She broke her neck, and she's in the hospital.
Are you thirsty? Want a drink?
Gary made the startling connection between his dream and the accident. He called Joanne at the hospital and soon became a constant presence at the bedside of the girl he had never forgotten.
I just started praying. I said, thank you, God, for saving her. And at that particular time, nobody really knew that what her status was, I guess, if she was going to be paralyzed or what the case might be.
As time passed and Joanne's condition improved, Gary shared his dream with Joanne.
I said, you're not going to believe this, but I prayed for you in that accident. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I had a vision on Friday night before the accident that somebody was in that accident that I knew. And, you know, I'm looking at you. You were the person.
What's also amazing is that the date of my accident, which was August the 8th, is actually the first day that Gary and I started dating years earlier, 7 years earlier.
I announce to you a new family, Mr. and Mrs. Hyde.
2 months after the accident, Gary proposed marriage and Joanne accepted. They both agreed that Joanne's tragic experience, when combined with Gary's dream, was a miracle in disguise.
It's a miracle from God that I had the vision to begin with, and therefore to respond, to pray for those people in that accident to save their life. I feel amazed because it brought us back together. I got my second chance to marry the lady that I love.
It was no coincidence that Gary and I were put back together, that we met again, that we started dating. I'm here now with Gary. We've been married for 10 years. Gary and I were definitely destined to be together.
God does miracles. He's alive, and he does them every day.